I think that the first thing that I want to signal is that we are finally ready to take on something which I have always found terrifying. And that has to do with idea suppression. Now, before we get to idea suppression and how it functions and what it is, I want to take new listeners through a very brief description of how we would order the world relative to the portal and its objectives. So if you will, let me take you back to the end of World War II. There's a lot of prehistory, but we can't afford to do everything. So shortly after World War II, there were two very important events in the early 1950s from our perspective. One of which was the unlocking of the three-dimensional structure of DNA by Watson and Crick in 1953. And the other was the explosions of hydrogen devices using work of Edward Teller and Stanislaw Ulam, and what that changed in the human picture, because we went from a short period where we were dealing with atomic bombs, where duck and cover was a plausible solution, to dealing with hydrogen devices in which the destructive power was really incalculable. It's the power of gods used to power the sun here on Earth. Now, to my way of thinking, since the early 1950s, there has been no comparable explosion of wisdom to go along with this newfound power that humans have, this new godlike power. So I've called this the twin nuclei problem of cell and atom. And I think what we've had is an incredible run of luck. And I think it's the most magical and marvelous thing, but I don't believe that we can count on luck forever. And in fact, given some of the events of early 2020 taking place in Iraq and Iran, I would say that history at the scale that we were accustomed to it during the let's say first half of the 20th century, could start up at any moment. And we're entirely unprepared for this. Now, in the story that has this major through line that we've been following, the next thing that happens that's really important is a guy named Derek DeSola Price starts to calculate that science is on an exponential trajectory. And rather than thinking that that's a great thing, he starts to understand that anything on an exponential trajectory can't really go on because it's going to burn itself out. And if science is the original seed corn, if you will, of technology and technology of economics, then effectively what's going to happen in science is going to percolate through a chain, through technology and into the economy, with a potential stagnation coming. Now, he started to arrive at these ideas, I think, at Yale in the late 1950s. It was not well understood what he was talking about, and still, I'm always shocked that the book Science Since Babylon, which he wrote and which discusses this issue, is so much less well known than, say, Thomas Kuhn's Structure of Scientific Revolutions. For some reason, this is so dispiriting to so many people that we actually don't discuss it